Hi guys, welcome back to keynote session, and we have great speakers now. Matthew has been our old and ongoing speaker. He has been amazing whenever we talk about marketing automation. We just had a talk from Aparna, and then I had to say her stop because Matthew is coming. So both are the same company. Matthew is a partnership manager from Southeast Asia and from Dot Digital, and he has been a great host at Meet Magento Singapore as well. We shared a couple of beers, let me tell you that. And then along with we have Siddhant. He is the founder and CEO at ugao.com. It's a very Indian name, and then all of us understand what ugao means. So it's about cultivation of the sales or currency. I mean, I hope that is the actual agenda you have. And the future of e-commerce in India. So being Indian, so we should, as our Prime Minister is also saying, make in India and sell across the globe. So these guys are going to talk about future of e-commerce in India and how you can make it bigger and better. Guys, over to you. As this is a keynote session, we will not have Q&A, but you can use complete 30 minutes and then we will have lunch break. So you are coming at the right time. Go ahead.
Indeed. Well, fantastic. Vatsal, thank you as always. Thank you. Really do appreciate that very warm introduction. And as mentioned, my name is Matthew McClelland. I look after agency and technology partnerships for Dot Digital across Southeast Asia. We'll be talking a little bit today, and I'll be bringing Siddhant on just a little bit through the presentation to get his thoughts and kind of experience as we grow e-commerce within India. But to start off with, I want to just give just a brief introduction, kind of the state of the market globally. As we start to use the learnings across different regions to enrich what we do in different markets. For those that haven't come across Dot Digital before, we are an all-in-one marketing automation platform, allowing merchants to communicate with their customers across email, SMS, live chat inbound, WhatsApp, social retargeting, being able to build workflows and automations that drive loyalty for your customers and also generate higher GMV for merchants. The goal is to deliver an omni-channel experience as your customers shop with you as a brand. Now, our CEO, Milan Patel, has famously said that what remains committed to Dot Digital is our commitment to partners and technology. And it couldn't be further than to true when we look at the relationship that we have with Adobe. They've spent hundreds and hundreds of hours reviewing the code of our integration between e-commerce and marketing automation, or Magento and Dot Digital, to bake the actual integration into their core code. And that provides so many benefits for merchants, for agencies, for developers in being able to leverage the great power of the e-commerce with Magento and then the best of breed marketing automation platform. There's much more about who we are as an organization that you can kind of take from the slides, which we'll be sending out afterwards. But one of the things I wanted to focus on is the kind of state of 2020 and where we saw ourselves. And I don't think it would be a presentation if we don't mention end of life for Magento 1, 3 years in the kind of making. It came to fruition, and clients had to, and merchants had to look at obviously alternatives. And it was a natural progression, lots of communication, but it still got to 2020 and questions were being asked, and merchants were coming to tech providers, to yourselves, developers and agencies, asking the question, what do I do now? And that led to a lot of questions being asked around kind of Commerce Cloud and Magento Commerce. And we worked quite closely with the Adobe team as we had clients that really wanted to understand the benefits of OS versus Commerce and how they could and what that transition would look like. And there's some great benefits from a scalability perspective. I'm kind of preaching to the choir here, but it's been a kind of journey as we've taken merchants through that story, looking at that ownership of the product, the stack, being able to have those automatic upgrades, and very much going into that kind of SaaS territory, which Shopify was positioning themselves as an alternative. And we saw many of our merchants, when they were looking at M1, they were asking about Shopify, how it differs, how that works. And I'm sure yourselves that it was a very interesting year as we saw kind of that confusion and kind of what do I do now? Where am I taking out my kind of e-commerce store? And it was, Adobe had some fantastic releases to kind of reinvigorate Magento, and I can't stress more, they expanded support for B2B for our clients across the world, especially Southeast Asia, who would have that blend of B2B and B2C as part of their business, as part of their growth plans as well for the future. It was very much a welcoming addition that's been well received. And then finally, PWA, and I won't stress too much into this. I'll let Sid go through his thoughts, but it's been these common themes that merchants have kind of been delving with over the last 12 months. And as we look to the next 12 and beyond, credit to our friends at Adobe for this. They were able to share kind of their view of the trends that we will be seeing. And it was clear that AI, machine learning, automation in its simplest form would fuel the digital economy as more and more brands, especially if they were traditional bricks and mortar, are moving to online more, or having more of a reliance to that. And digital transformation is the kind of phrase that gets thrown around, but it is very much the top of the agenda of many individuals within an organization. And we look at that digital engagement, and it's something that when we talk to merchants, they all come to us and say, what is digital engagement? Or what is commerce intelligence? And we try to simplify that down to retail dashboards to inform you, give you that insight, build out different groups of individuals or personas so that you can talk to customers in different demographics. And equally then, rather than going, I know who these customers are, I know what they want, but I don't know what to sell them, we use machine learning to do product recommendations. And that journey that we're going through, that intelligence and utilization of technology, very much looks as it is, I want to be Amazon. And that's what our merchants were asking. I want to be able to have that experience, or my website to be the experience I have when I shop on Amazon, quick to check out, recommendations that come up. But equally, I want my customers to be as loyal to my solution as they are to Amazon. And with Jeff Bezos stepping down yesterday, I still firmly believe that at the heart of Amazon will still prevail, which is that obsession to the customer. And that customer obsession that he's built and driven when every touch point within the business, whether it was, you first arrive on the website, whether it's your first communication across email, SMS, or you retargeted, it was that same journey, speedy delivery, quick to check out. That experience was the same, and it didn't matter where you bought from. If you bought, Amazon Singapore, Amazon Japan, it's always that same experience. And that's where, when we focus on the customer, we've seen a huge increase in results. And results drive everything that we do here. When I look at the March to June last year, we saw a huge increase in open rates, click-through rates, and engagement rates across email specifically. And actually, when we delved into it, it was quite interesting what had happened. And this is a chart that shows side by side, a 6 months, a year side by side. And with green, it was kind of stagnant. And it's the adoption of marketing automation. And during February, March, we saw our clients were not adopting it as much. There was a slowdown and then a huge increase. And where we've aligned this to is our clients took stock of what they were doing, how they were communicating with customers, and then built around that. And that's led to some fantastic results, and merchants all over the world recovering revenue with cart abandonment and using the integrations with Magento to trigger communications in real time. And that was the spike of what we saw. Customers were connecting up their solutions to deliver a better experience, really obsessing about how the customers are talked to, what content they receive, and on what channel. And it'll be no better than to kind of just give you a brief announcement. As of we've released it now, but as part of the 2.4.2 release of Magento, you'll be able to use transactional SMS. And this allows you to build that journey just as if you were Amazon. Shipping notifications, new order confirmations can be done not just as traditionally through email, but in regions and markets where SMS is much more prevalent. I am seeing India is obviously one of those. We can do that as a way of communicating with a customer on the channel that they want to be communicated on. And with that, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Sid, who's going to talk a little bit about Ugal.
Hey Matthew, hope you're doing great today. So thanks for having me present about Ugal and helping people to understand, and the entire Magento community to understand like where we are going, what's the future in terms of e-commerce, and how how we are possibly tackling this entire situation. So I'll start with a brief introduction on Ugal. So Ugal's vision is to essentially make Earth a better place to live in. So the best way to do this is to increase the green cover and create spaces for nature or plants at home and our offices. So we are an organization with a firm vision to help people go green, encourage them to grow their own food and feel good about themselves being sustainable. So what we do to achieve this is essentially we produce a lot of rare and exotic houseplants which can grow in low light settings, and they also add value to one's life through mental wellness and enhanced decor. So we as humans have always been, connected to nature, and this is proven by, the phenomena called biophilia, which is humankind's innate tendency to connect with nature. That's why we go outdoors, we go for nature trails. So it's better to start bringing nature indoors, since we are mostly like stuck to the screen. We live in these concrete jungles. We hardly get time to, relax, exercise in the open and all. So now it's time to get all the plants, get nature, and really, get those green thumbs going, so that you feel good about yourself. You're reducing the carbon footprint. You're leading a sustainable life, and also it feels better that we are kind of handing over a better world to the next generation. So in terms of Magento, I wanted to highlight, why are we different than the other stores out there? So if we consider fashion, if we consider electronics, decor, so there's a lot of phobia within people about having plants at home. They're not really comfortable. They always have this thing, oh, okay, I'm going to kill this plant. I don't want to have plants at home. I'm sure I'm not going to succeed. So we were always like a different kind of a company, wherein a lot of our customers needed the hand holding. They needed all the information on, what are the advantages of bringing plants at home? Why is it worth buying a plant in the first place? How to water that plant? What kind of fertilizers should I give to those plants? When should I change the pot? When should I put it in a bigger pot? So I think there were a lot of custom requirements that we needed. So that's why we had chosen Magento. So we had to, also kind of get in touch with the customer a lot of times. Let's say you want to grow your own food. You start with the seed. So, but then you don't know how deep should you sow the seed, when to water, how to water, when to like transplant it into a bigger pot, when to harvest, if there's a caterpillar on the plant, like what to do. So our business always needs us to get in touch with the customer quite often. So I think Magento and Dot Digital both together created this perfect journey, enabled the proper handholding that our customers need.
So really, I'm there with you. I've many houseplants have suffered at my lack of green fingers. But I think from a technology stack perspective, one of the things that we talked about in preparation for this was kind of the why of Magento, but also the process that you went through. As we look at the number of technologies that are out there in the space. What was it why Magento, and what was the kind of process that you went through to kind of make that selection?
So we started Uga about 5 years ago. I think, Magento had that trust. It was always scalable rather than the other options out there. We had very custom requirements, and I think Magento has great partners. That's the best thing. A lot of companies all around the globe are working, developing tools and developing softwares which kind of integrate with Magento very well. So it's very essential to have the perfect tech stack. Matthew, as you said, like everyone wants to be the Amazon, for their specific category, and it's really difficult. It took a lot of engineers for Amazon to do that. But for like a young startup like us, which is bootstrapped, does not have enough funds, we wanted to come up with a very sustainable ecosystem and a good tech stack, which enables at least us to kind of scale and grow. So, there are many essential things in the e-commerce world, for example, search. So we did our research for almost about 2 to 3 months on, which tools and which companies are we going to go with. So Klevu was the one that we selected for search. I think they have a great search engine. They have recommendations, and they also give us inputs as to like what all was searched in a specific period of time. Nosto has been great for on-site recommendations, kind of showing the right products. As I said, people don't know much about plants, so Nosto helps us, really showing what pot goes well with this plant, or if you're buying seeds, what all else do you need to have a successful journey growing your own food. Then we also looked into like we wanted to build a very loyal customer base, so we had Yotpo for the loyalty program, and I think it has played out wonderful for us. We have our own plant parent club where all of these passionate plant growers are a part of it. We engage with them regularly through like surveys and webinars and all of that. And all of this was possible through Dot Digital because we could get in touch with our customers quite often. So Dot Digital, we run a lot of automations. As I said, this hand holding that is needed. So right from the point where the customer lands on the website, right after like he has made the first purchase, we send them a lot of information, we send them a lot of content, we build the confidence in them that if you've bought 2 plants, maybe it's time to buy the third one, the fourth one. And we give out all the information through Dot Digital's wonderful automations. We are also developing new sensors which give you alerts, and we are using Dot Digital as a platform to push notifications through SMS and WhatsApp as well. So while doing the research, we did come across other tools like WebEngage and Klaviyo, which is one of them. But Klaviyo, we thought that WhatsApp is a big thing in India because a lot of customers are on WhatsApp, and the open rate is tremendous compared to SMS or anything. So that's why we chose Dot Digital. And if you look at WebEngage, which is like Dot Digital, but it was really lacking the integration. I think that's what adds value. Not a lot of companies our scale have like a team of developers, and also having ready integration is really nice, and seeing that tech stack work together is amazing.
It's really interesting you mentioned around WhatsApp and WhatsApp, Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg's world. There's a lot going on in India, and there's like a lot of news. How is it affecting you as a business?
I think Facebook has always been aggressive in India since the beginning. They have good connectivity with the government. A few years ago, they had come up with Facebook One, where they wanted to connect the rural parts of India. So I think they're working very closely. And recently, like when Facebook and Google both invested in Jio, which is like the largest telecom giant in India and has the biggest customer base, it was pretty evident that Facebook is looking at India as like a pilot testing model for the newer technologies that they're going to launch. For example, WhatsApp came up with payments. Right. Recently, I was going through the WhatsApp policy that was launched recently, and I could see that promotion word sneaked in. So I won't be surprised if, they're going to start promotions in India first through WhatsApp. They have already started transactional and alerts through WhatsApp. So I think Facebook has a good overview. Facebook is very bullish in India that they're going to be able to experiment. They're going to kind of go through a few regulations and kind of work very closely with the government to make sure that newer technology is rolled out and they get a mass audience to test this technology through.
And it's obviously one of the networks. We've talked about before about kind of personas, different groups of customers. How is it different? We've got Facebook, we've got Instagram, you use WhatsApp, you've got a lot of channels that you use Dot Digital to kind of communicate with. How does that impacted by kind of the groups of customers that you service?
I think like, if you look at the Facebook consortium, Instagram is used more by the millennials. So I would say like 24 to 38 are more on Instagram. And if you're looking at, 38 to 55, they are more on Facebook. And if you look at even, like the tier 2, tier 3 cities, they are more on WhatsApp. So Facebook has a wide reach across all the audience in India. So we can use Instagram for targeting the younger audience, Facebook for the elder audience. So we can really push the right kind of content, the right kind of products, and market them through different platforms, targeting like different age groups, different kind of customers. So it really helps, you have this one consolidated platform to do it for you.
You mentioned targeting, and I don't think we could move on from targeting without talking about the Apple versus Facebook.
I mean, I know that, it's kind of really good on Apple's part, but for like startups like us, it's going to, be affecting us. We're already seeing this disruption in the ad spends and the ROI and the customer acquisition costs. I think recently in January, like the second half, Apple has come up with the update, and we are starting to see the customer acquisition costs going up. Although in India, interestingly, only 11% are on iOS and almost 89% are on Android.
Okay.
Yet Facebook is kind of, hiking up the marketing cost. So we're not really sure whether, it's the ads that are going up in cost, or whether, like Apple has really disrupted this market. But yes, for smaller players like us, it's really difficult to kind of have a sustainable business if the ad costs go up. Every year we are seeing, what was in 2015, we are nowhere close to that right now. More and more startups are coming in, more and more traditional businesses have started advertising through digital medias like, Facebook and Instagram. So yeah, it's going to be quite difficult if this keeps on going. That's why, it's really important to have your own data, market through email marketing, build that brand loyalty. Yeah. I think if I have to give any suggestion to all these budding entrepreneurs and young startups, is like build your data, have control over your data. Do not depend on social media platforms. Like, you never know what's going to happen 3 years down the line. Maybe, it's going to be as costly as giving a newspaper ad or a billboard.
Wow, yeah.
So without, getting results as such. So it's better to have your own data and, really build on automations and getting direct reach to your consumers and customers.
And dealing with that, we've talked about it before, that customer experience and, building that brand loyalty. And there's nothing more important than having that. And then before we move on to the kind of final takeaways, I'm conscious of time. That's I was probably already waiting to jump in. Native or PWA?
I would go with PWA. I think native apps is good for companies that have you need to access them multiple times, like in Uber. In India, there's Swiggy, Zomato, wherein you're ordering multiple times in a week. You want to cab it multiple times in a week. But for a company like ours, or any other fashion company, I think PWA makes more sense, because you really want those organic rankings from Google, so which they are now prioritizing PWA. The experience is wonderful, and it's as good as having an app. You can always save it in the browser and use it as an app. So I would go for PWA if you ask me.
No, that's great. And again, you mentioned something before which was quite important. Google prioritizing PWA over native, and awesome. I'm sick of swiping through my iPhone to try and find the app that I wanted. I'm thankful they put that search function in. There's a couple of key takeaways that you've put here, which you've mentioned before. Foundation is based on the ecosystem. Building a sustainable business relies on you having that tech stack. We've kind of put some more of the building your own data we mentioned, and don't spend blindly on ads. Have that tracking, have that attribution. Use GA to kind of to capture the information, and ultimately loyalty will be rewarded. Is there anything else that you'd want to add on to that?
So I think in India, loyalty matters a lot. Like, people in India don't change brands that often. Yes, there is a certain segment that, will always be price conscious and, keep jumping from brands. But the majority who are online buyers would prefer to stick to one brand for that specific segment. So it's really important, I think, in India to build a loyalty, to keep in touch with your consumers, with your customers, so that they keep coming back and keep shopping from you.
Can ask more? There's a couple of programs that we've talked about, recommendation, upsell, some of the future of where you'll be utilizing technology to better that customer experience. But ultimately, the journey looks like this, which is fantastic in how quickly you've been able to utilize technology to build out what is essentially, nurturing, to use the phrase, a customer from fear of I'm going to unfortunately kill this plant to being, very confident and feeling that they know what they can do, which is once you've got that confidence and you're happy with the product, it will lead to obviously more of that loyalty. Yeah. We've got the last point. Did you want to kind of go through this before we close off?
So at Ugao, we have a wonderful development team and we're always looking to innovate. So we are already working on PWA since the last 3 months. There are a lot of new things that are coming in, like sensors and interesting things. So I would like to take advantage of, speaking on this wonderful platform where a lot of Magento developers are watching us. So if you are looking, and I know these are tough times, but if you are looking for a job, and if you have 5 years and more of experience, we are actually looking for a senior developer, also somewhere in the range of a CTO. If you're interested, please reach out to us. You can email hr@ugao.com and we would love to take this forward.
Fantastic. I'll leave that slide on there just for a few more moments so anyone can kind of take a picture if need be. Sid, thank you once again. It's an absolute pleasure to host you today. Fatsal, to everyone else, Meet Magento, thank you again for the opportunity to speak. We'll be sending out the slides. The team are available if you would like to talk to anyone at .digital, and look forward to the next one. And hopefully, Fatsal, you'll be the one hosting again.
Yep. Thanks for insightful talk. I think people got a lot of lessons from the case study of Ugao. It's always good to have client talking along with you. So yeah, I think you have used all fascinating things and you have persuaded Indian buyers. So it's important to know the pulse of the buyers so that you can do it well. And yeah, I'm also going to talk on the similar lines at 1:30. So guys, go for a quick lunch. I'll be coming back with RFM and customer psychology, which is also a favorite of Matthew. Okay, it was fantastic talk. Thanks, Siddhant, and thanks, Matthew, for being with us. Guys, go for a quick lunch. Come back at 1:30. Many people, I, Vinay, all will be live. We'll be waiting for you guys. Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day. Thank you, Matthew.